Ready to move to the next level in your product career? I'm Shobhit from Intentional Product Manager. Join me as we discuss ways to help you stand out in your job search and your career so you can have more impact and make more money. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Intentional Product Manager podcast. This is Shobhit Chugh. We help product managers grow their impact and income by building a career that they're proud of. Today's episode is a special one for me because I am joined by somebody I've known since 15 years ago at Kellogg, so where I went for business school. Ram Sangireddy and I were classmates. I've been watching his career with admiration ever since. He was a VP of product at Salesforce until recently, where he led global teams responsible for Salesforce and MuleSoft platform and enterprise AI agentic applications and services, powering multi-billion dollar ARR. I'll say more about him, but first of all, Ram, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Shobhit. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. And over the past several years, Ram has driven massive innovation in AI, data, observability, and platform products at a really massive scale. So a lot of interesting topics came to mind as we started talking. And soon he's going to take up a GM leadership role, owning both product and engineering team for cloud platforms to drive AI innovation at scale. It's at another amazingly happening company. I know what it is, but I'll just leave it out and let him surprise when he announces on LinkedIn. Ram, before Salesforce, he held product leadership roles at Honeywell, Vitria, Fab.com, and IBM, leading teams that innovated at intersection of AI, data, platforms, and large-scale systems. His work is deep, technical, and business critical. Let's get going. We'll start with some warm-up questions.
Before we go there, I want to thank you, Shobhit, and it's a great pleasure for me to be here engaging this audience. Since we left Kellogg, I have also been following your amazing journey from strategy consulting at McKinsey to product management at Lattice Engines and other companies, and then to Google. And now in past few years, the amazing work you're doing with the Intentional Product Manager program, helping numerous PMs achieve their career goals. That's a great legacy you're building. There is no greater service, I believe, and no greater legacy than helping people grow to higher levels. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Very much appreciated. Let's go back to maybe like B school. We're all trying to figure out what we want to do. Did you know even at Kellogg that you were headed towards platform product leadership?
Yeah, while in hindsight, it all made sense for me. Not so much at that time. I went to Kellogg MBA from being a hardcore engineering researcher, and I was not sure where I would land eventually. Strategy consulting, investment banking, etc., did not interest me much as I did not want to miss out or move much far from my core technology background. So after I graduated, product management made sense, and as I journeyed for a few years through large and small companies, especially in the Bay Area, building data products and platforms, and as I gained experience and built reputation, things kind of started falling in place. So it is more of an evolution along with self-discovery, I would say.
Steve Jobs has said everything makes sense. Like you can connect the dots looking back, very hard to connect them looking forward. So engineer, go to B school. What's maybe a lesson or a mindset shift from business school that stuck with you throughout your journey?
Oh, I had a huge shift in the mindset. Like before the business school, being a researcher and not just a regular engineer, I was a PhD in engineering, like a hardcore researcher. I used to be very focused on perfecting an algorithm or an engine or a technology. But what I realized at business school was that there exists a much wider set of dimensions to make a product successful in the market. How it is packaged, positioned, priced, the total cost of ownership to the customers, and then several more emotional aspects to the overall user experience, right? So just to draw an analogy, pre-Kellogg, as if I was thinking that a highly fuel-efficient engine alone makes a car very appealing commodity to customers. But no, there is so much more to make it a popular buy, right? It's color, contour, seats, cushions, and many more things that define the overall driving experience. So that has helped me a lot to be better product manager when I really came into product management role. That shift in the mindset really stuck with me, and it helped me immensely.
I love that. And I mean, I get asked this question many times. Would love to get your thoughts on it. Like people ask me, hey, was the MBA worth it? And I always tell them that, hey, I just started to think, like my way of thinking about things changed so much. That to me made the huge difference along with the network.
Yeah, absolutely. See, does it make sense for everybody? I don't know, but it made sense for me, and I know some of the people I interacted with, it made sense for them to do an MBA. It all depends on what career goals you're looking to achieve. If you're looking to pivot in a big way, then yeah, I know full-time MBA program at a top business school definitely helps.
Maybe more about platform product management. Maybe just a warm-up question. What's a platform product management myth you'd love to permanently erase?
Yeah, there's a misunderstanding or a myth that the technology platforms, that we will talk more about them, are predominantly engineering driven with very little room for PMs to make an impact or make a career out of that. Technology innovation platform needs a very strong PM, not only for the reasons of go to market with enterprise customers, there's a lot of elements there, but also for various technological reasons that we can talk about them here in this conversation. It is akin to like saying war is too important to be left to the generals, right? Like, so same way a technology platform cannot be left alone to pure engineering function to be built. It requires both a strong PM and a strong engineering team to make it successful.
Yeah, let's keep talking more about that. So, how do you define a technology innovation platform? What are like core essential traits?
Yeah, so we know the usual business marketplace, multi-sided aggregator platforms such as like Uber, Airbnb, etc., that bring together the providers and consumers of entities and enable transactions of value exchange between them, and then of course capture some value for themselves, the business platforms, right? Same with content platforms such as Meta, who are bringing together not only producers and consumers of content, but also advertisers and others, enabling transactions of value. We all know that. On the other hand, the technology innovation platform is when you provide a technology platform for enterprises to build their innovations that enable their business. For example, all these AWS cloud platform services, Azure cloud platform, Google cloud platform are one category of IaaS and PaaS technology innovation platforms, as we all know. There are also next level technology developer platforms that enable enterprises to build and run their business artifacts, such as like APIs, web apps, mobile apps, app integrations, ML models and their endpoints, custom experiences, custom objects, like whatever the enterprise developer want to build for their business needs, whatever platform you are providing, that's the another kind of technology innovation platform. Even now, building AI agents. So enterprises need a kind of agent developer platform, right? So that's another kind of technology innovation platform. And then there are platforms with horizontal applications or services, including data layers, reasoning engines, compliance reasoning, etc., that would enable enterprise users to configure or develop industry-specific applications or workflows for verticals like healthcare, financial services, commerce, insurance, and so on. So if you are providing even that kind of horizontal platform, you're a technology innovation platform product manager. So in a nutshell, any platform you offer to enterprises for them to innovate and build further layers on top of that, that would capture higher level business value. So you are a kind of a provider of a technology innovation platform.
Given platforms, multi-sided, like how do you define the core customers of this?
Yeah, it's a good question. See, the technology platforms will have often external money-paying enterprise customers and also internal dev teams, and then even ecosystem partners who help up-level the value via an exchange or a marketplace. It is often a misunderstanding that technology platforms are only a backend with only internal stakeholders. In some cases, it is so. Like if you are building a data warehouse platform for your internal business needs, if you are building a data science platform for internal data scientists, data engineers, and all that for them to build ML models for your business needs, those are definitely internal facing platforms. But very often, if you're a PM owning technology platform services that cater to the external enterprise customers to build and run their business artifacts, then you would directly face them with a plenty of go-to-market work, including marketing, pre-sales, post-sales, customer success, support, and so on. And sometimes platform PMs also have to be owning the pricing of platforms, depending on the scenarios where platform elements may have independent SKUs, or they are part of composite SKUs bundled with other customer facing elements and so on. So in depending on what your platform is, your core customer can be varying. Yeah.
Let's talk about measuring success. Like, what are some health metrics that you care most about as a leader of these platforms from product perspective?
So just like for any product, platforms would also have various success metrics, including growth or adoption metrics, usage metrics, quality of service metrics, cost metrics, customer satisfaction metrics, marketing, evangelization metrics, and so on, right? In that, if we have to focus exclusively on your question, like health metrics or quality of service metrics, we call them for mission critical platforms, especially in the enterprise world, then security and availability are paramount, especially at scale. When thousands of enterprises are running millions of their artifacts on your platform, and those artifacts are conduits for billions of business transactions each day, then availability becomes a huge aspect, right? This week's AWS outage for some hours earlier this week, right? Like, is a good example. And if you're a PM for that AWS platforms or services you're providing, like, I'm sure you're having sleepless nights at this point of time. So that's a good example of how disruptive it can be if you don't care about security and availability of your technology platforms. Besides security and availability, often scalability is another factor platform PMs should focus on, as lack of scalability can affect availability. And also it can affect performance, cost effectiveness, and overall customer satisfaction. So these, I would say, are critical health metrics for any platform PM to focus on.
We're recording this podcast just like a couple of days after AWS went down, and it was surprising how many systems were down. Kept getting messages from people that, oh, this is down. I'm like, well, AWS is down. And then people were having trouble with, they have these smart beds. They couldn't raise them up or down because AWS was down.
Yeah, when I was recently leading the platforms at MuleSoft division within Salesforce, a lot of banks are our customers, and thousands of APIs are run by each bank in the background when for every transaction or for any interaction end consumers have to do with the banking system online. The APIs are working in the background, and APIs are running in real time on that platforms. If APIs go down for any reason, a bank can suffer like up to $100 million business loss in a given day. It happened a couple of times, and so on. Yeah, so these are all definitely very critical situations platform PMs face.
Thank you for sharing that experience. And you highlighted many aspects where it makes it clear that, hey, it's not just an engineering play, which is what sometimes people assume it is. I'm going to switch focus and talk more about the fact that you led the charge on AI agentic apps and services within Salesforce. So let's dig into that, especially because that's something that's really top of mind for many PMs and generally the tech audience. So in such platforms, how do you decide what becomes, let's say, a platform capability versus a product feature?
The platform PMs and product or application PMs must be always in close collaboration to ensure there is a fruitful interplay. In the platform thinking, build horizontal capabilities that enable unlimited use cases. While in the application thinking, build solutions that solve specific pain points. So the combined thinking, when they all come together, is about applications as platform proof and platform as an application multiplier. So the strategic framework, like to answer your question about how do we differentiate between a platform capability versus a product feature, it can be three-pronged. One is platform-powered applications. So applications built entirely on platform capabilities, so demonstrating what customers can build themselves. So if you're creating those applications specific to those customer needs, then those are platform powered applications, but you have to leverage the horizontal platform capability. So those are platform powered applications. Then there are platform stretching applications, like applications that push platform boundaries, revealing gaps we need to fill. So when you have to build an application for a customer need and you realize that the platform lacks a certain capability, be it data or any particular APIs or formats or whatever it is, then if you're enhancing platform capabilities, then you're stretching that platform capabilities. Then there are pure platform innovation, like platform capabilities not yet tied to specific applications, but you're betting on the future needs. Maybe you're tearing apart certain background protocols, like MCP came in, A2A came in. Like, how do you now refurbish your platform for future, like to ensure that future innovation on the application side can happen? So there is a level of decision making with your instinct and understanding what is that reusable element that will become a platform piece versus something that's specifically required by a customer segment or an industry or any particular market. Then that may be coming in an application. So overall success metric in this scenario is application ARR plus the application to platform attach rate. Like, so you're not building applications as a pointed solutions without being attached to the platform. Then again, you're creating tech debt. We'll talk about that. Like, there's a lot of challenges that will come up when you try to do that.
I love that, a combination of attach rate and application ARR. Could you actually maybe give an example of applications, like stuff you might have put in applications versus the platforms?
Yeah. So, for example, take the latest what is going on in the Gen AI world, right? So, if you are building agents for marketing purposes, for sales purposes, or employee onboarding, let's say you're selling, you want to build those agents and you want to sell to enterprise customers for them to leverage those, let's say to do their for marketing needs or sales needs or employee onboarding or customer experience, customer support. All this can be specific agents which act as like applications or solutions for specific needs. But to support those agents, every time you have to build a stack of starting from like how you bring in the data and how you contextualize that data and how you reason that, and then all the LLM calls and gateway. You're not going to build entire top to bottom stack for every agent separately as standalone, right? Like, then you're getting into a very nightmare situation. So what you want to extract is like, okay, for these marketing agents, sales agents, employee onboarding agents, or support agents, customer experience agents, whatever, all those, what are all the common pieces that will support, like data layers, security layers, reasoning in engines, and any other metadata management, and all that, like APIs, interfaces, like all the things that are required to build those agents can be the platform layer.
This brings to light many of the things that you mentioned earlier. So one part of AI platforms, let me call it that, or AI agentic apps and services, is LLM ops. And we've been hearing about, first starting with DevOps, then data ops, AI ops. Tell me more, what is LLM ops and what are the various aspects associated with it?
In fact, that feeds also into your prior question about platform play versus application play, right? See, when the agents are running and agents are invoking actions, and actions can be through workflows or calls to APIs and calls to LLMs and calls to data sources for grounding and contextualization, and then response to the prompt, and eventually surface response through the mobile or web interfaces and whatnot. So the LLM ops in that sense is like all the real-time calls that are happening through you. If you build a security gateway and the gateway is sending that prompt out to any particular variety of LLMs, it can be Anthropic based LLMs or OpenAI or Gemini and all that, right? So that's where, like, how you deploy and run your agentic services to call those LLMs in real time via these platform interfaces. So all that ecosystem is LLM ops. And that's where the platform play comes in strong. For all the LLMs or agents or even ML models or endpoints or APIs or any other artifacts running live in production, the day two operations with observability for security, availability, scalability, performance optimization, these are all like very important, without which the business would be flying blind. So the teams also have to focus on the, like especially the platform teams, have to focus on the instrumentation and configuration of the platform to ensure every application or artifact is automatically and instantaneously provided with that observability for real-time operations. Whenever you build an agent, when you build an app, you don't want to instrument all those like every time from ground. Like so, the platform helps instantaneously enabling that operations observability in the ecosystem. And unlike for some conventional APIs or standalone applications, the agentic workflows and cross ecosystem communications are bringing new challenges and innovation opportunities in the operations observability space. For example, as I was saying earlier, when you prompt an LLM, the observability about the success of the response, the latency of the response, the LLM's response throughput is one thing. But if you have deployed an AI agent into action, calling multiple data sources, calling another integration endpoint, calling an LLM, and even invoking other agents, then observability of the end-to-end action is a very complex implementation to achieve. So because there's a lot of handoff that's happening across the components in the ecosystem. So how you trace that is a challenge by itself. So a lot of good research and development work is going on in this space.
One more thing about before we leave the topic of AI agents, one thing I keep hearing is that most AI projects end up not being able to be successful because they aren't able to prove ROI. So what's your approach to communicating AI ROI in an enterprise context?
This is a tough one these days for product leaders, business leaders, the GMs, even sales folks. Especially in the enterprise software markets these days. So first, let me say that the generative AI-driven agentic transformation is for real. It is not vaporware. It is also true that we are still in some hype, with some years away in realizing the true potential of the artificial general intelligence or AGI, especially for the enterprises. A lot of what we are seeing today is still about efficiency play. And a time will come when the AI ecosystem will be about unlocking new markets, new systems, and new opportunities. So right now, as a massive wave of individual consumers have taken up leveraging the Gen AI technologies, and that requires a lot of foundational infrastructure to support that consumption and transformation. The AI-specific semiconductor chip industry, AI-specific compute and storage infrastructure companies, they are having a moment in the sun right now and are capturing the value in enabling that AI consumption. The general purpose semiconductor and infra companies have been relegated to the back. Intel is a good example, right? Similarly, the general purpose software companies will also find it hard to capture the value without AI first offerings. And then also they cannot expect customers to pay for both SaaS and AI first offerings that would solve for the same functionality in a different way. Why should the CIO or the CTO pay for both when the pain point is one and they want one way to solve that, and or maybe you can give them both but they want to pay only for one, right? So and the other can be value add service. So in that, the enterprise AI is facing a kind of show me the money problem. CIOs are drowning in AI pitches promising transformation, but most can't articulate concrete ROI. The product and sales team's job is to cut through the hype with credible, measurable business value. So to answer your question, what is our approach? So I would say the approach has to be on multiple fronts. One is speak to the customers in terms of the business outcomes. So like a lot of companies already started doing that. They talk about the customer issue resolutions or sales volume or customer attrition. Those are the business outcomes your enterprise customers value. So talk in those terms and whatever they care about, and speak to the practical ways AI can help move the needle in those outcomes, and not just how theoretically AI can help. That's one. Two, work with the customer teams closely through the journey, build for quick wins to core value, then strategic transformation. Three is build credibility, move from generic claims to pilot proof to production evidence. That also feeds into my earlier point about quick wins, like pick those projects where there's a quick win and create proof points there. And then the most important thing I would say is being transparent. The total cost of ownership, talk about it and show the downsides, tell what won't work and set realistic expectations. In a big market, you can all talk hype, but when you go into closed door session with your customers, make sure you talk realistic expectations, right? So winning an enterprise customer is a journey of building trust.
I really like the last point of being realistic and not over promising, especially when you're like finalizing everything, because that gets people into trouble. So now we learned a lot about AI platform. I want to now move into more career related discussion since that's such a central topic for this podcast. I'm going to move to leading and scaling platform product management teams, something you have a lot of experience in. When you look at somebody who's, coming in, what makes them a great platform PM? Like, what are the core things you should look at?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know your audience would love to hear more on that. So, I would say besides the usual all characteristics a PM should possess, like such as being customer centric, market savvy, curious, bringing vision and strategic approach, execution rigor, being a driving force to rally, and with the ability to work with more than a dozen cross-functional teams at any time, and so on. I would also encourage platform PMs on two fronts. One about the functionality of the platform, and the second is the non-functional elements of the platform. So, on the functionality front, bringing that platform vision and thinking to build horizontal capabilities that enable unlimited use cases, and so enable your stakeholders to build solutions that solve specific pain points. So, you have to continuously ensure that while applications are not built in siloed but rather as a platform proof, you also have to keep building the platform as an application multiplier. That is a role of the platform PM, and the platform should be the force in compounding the value being created via applications. So in this, the PM must continuously enhance the developer experience, build the tools, SDKs, experience ecosystem, exchanger marketplace, and all other things the customer and partners would need and touch. And then in that, as a PM, you must also make the platform as composable with services as you can, while streamlining the proliferation of APIs to ensure easy access, balanced with security and control. In the new world, you must also make the platform services with compatible with MCP and other agentic AI related protocols, A2A and so on. Also, the PM must strive to achieve standardization of development experiences, standardization of consumption experiences, standardization of data formats, tools, technologies, protocols for efficiencies at scale. So this is all about the platform functionality. On the non-functional front, and many times most PMs miss out on this aspect. And one of my favorite questions to ask in interviews to a platform PM is like, what are all the non-functional elements you would focus on? So there are several simultaneous elements a great platform PM would focus on, like application, product, service ownership, administration, and support, deployment and operations, service quality and health, like we talked about it earlier, right? Availability, latency, reliability, incident response, and so on. What are all the underneath runtime data processing engines, management planes, control planes, orchestration services, databases, querying engines, modeling frameworks. So the PM has to also pay attention to those. Multi-tenancy and isolation models for security and load balancing and service protection. Security via user authentication and authorization. Speed and ease of enablement of entities. Connectors to various data sources or services, components, like connectors to interfaces, other tools, custom applications that are outside your ecosystem. What is the data formatting, data organization, governance and compliance, monetization and billing. And how do you provide levers or knobs for performance optimization? How do you provide levers and knobs for cost optimization? What are your regional domains, regional deployments that you take the platform to? Show back, charge back, cost models, how you instrument for that? Auditing for compliance, observability instrumentation for monitoring of service quality, operations and support, and then even end of life planning and roadmap, including end of sale, end of renewal, end of support, end of extended support. These are all like very common things that keep happening as a platform evolves, right, for legacy capabilities. um, and uh, and then other than that, like you also have to look at like go to market strategy, early adopters, alpha beta pilots, how you're doing, what are your service goodness best practices, how you're providing tech expertise or consulting through professional services, because platform is not most often ready to be used by any enterprise customer. They require some kind of customizations, solution development or integrations and so on. Usually your PS teams coming to do that. So how you're playing there, and also these are all the things that a great PM, a platform PM looks into.
Love it. And obviously a lot for PMs to consider. So like when you okay, so you have platform PMs and you have these teams. So how do you structure the scope and impact across levels on your team?
Yeah, so like in most PM orgs with layers, I structure teams by their decision-making abilities, execution abilities, and leverage type. Junior PMs would own parts of the platform, perhaps a few services, and execute on the initiatives chalked out by senior PM leaders. Senior PMs would own independent responsibilities of a major component in a platform with a go-to-market, and how you have to really create SKUs and help sell those SKUs and all of that. Principal PMs or higher level PMs build systems and also bring the vision and shape the markets and so on. So each level should have exponentially more impact, but only linearly more responsibility. Experienced PMs have to take advantage of the leverage in the organization to shape things and make things happen. That is how I believe organizations can scale.
Say more about that. I think you said something very important. So exponentially more impact and only linearly more responsibility. Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, so in other words, like you don't want your experienced PMs to be doing a work that a junior level PM can do, right? Like, running your Scrum teams or every day. I don't encourage my very experienced PMs at Salesforce level. I would say directors, senior directors, all that. Don't go spend a lot of time in everyday Scrum meetings and all that. Let your junior PMs go do that and learn the ropes. But higher level PMs, even writing epics, like a lot of PMs come and ask me, oh, should I write epics and user stories and all of that? No, like I want senior director level PMs, VPs, like they should really be defining the vision, write the big BRDs, PRDs, and drive the conversations, rally the teams, and all that. And let the lower level PMs figure out the next level execution paths and so on. Yeah, that's what I meant by that.
Awesome. So it seems the job is changing significantly as you go up different levels as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And the higher you go, like how you bring your vision and strategy and build the business case, get the sponsorship from executives to find the funding for the roadmap and all that. That's a critical piece. And even how you work with higher you even go at Salesforce, I've seen like you have to be playing more bigger support role to the sales teams to go evangelize, sell the products, attend the conferences. There's a lot more things to be done there.
Everyone listening or watching this, like I hope you listen to this part again, because it's sort of one of the mistakes I see even when people are transitioning to the next role. They keep emphasizing the things that made them successful when, they were junior PMs, like, hey, I built this feature, and talk less about the kind of responsibilities you're mentioning now for a principal PM or known as a director or senior director at Salesforce. I think that's really critical. So now, as you think of coaching all these PMs, like what are like some maybe coaching moments that you find yourself repeating often?
If I have to think from my experience in recent years, driving to closure That's one thing I keep emphasizing with my PMs. Like, well, almost all good PMs have curiosity, initiative, drive, analytical skills, and are customer centric. Some of them often struggle to drive closer to an initiative. I keep telling my team members to drive closer to a thread or an initiative and not leave it hanging. Close the loop. When you take up an initiative, strive to drive it to closure. Like even when there is a failure, for example, if your product did not take off or did not get launched, still close the thread by doing a post-mortem analysis and communicating the lessons learned and conclusion with the stakeholders and close the thread. Don't leave your stakeholders hanging and guessing like what's going on. And the byproduct of that ability to drive closure, one thing I've learned is that the ability will also develop a rigorous discipline among leaders to not launch a thread or initiative and leave it midway and then go do another one and then another one and so on. So you're spawning dozens or hundreds of threads open. So that creates chaos and confusion among your lower level people or your engineering teams and so on. So driving to closure is one thing I keep telling my PMs.
Excellent. What are like maybe some processes or artifacts that you put in place that ensure some of this?
Yeah. So during especially for platform capabilities with dependencies across multiple teams, it usually becomes dysfunctional due to lack of trust among the team members because there's a lot of dependencies and a lot of PMs, engineering teams have to come together to make a launch happen in a platform. So if there is no trust, that leads to lack of healthy conflict, which leads to no good discussions, and so lacks commitment to a clear goal or a common purpose, as well as lack of holding one another accountable and so on, right? So at least at Salesforce, I'm sure different organizations have different artifacts or processes that will help streamline. At Salesforce, I found V2MOM, VVMOM, vision, values, methods, obstacles, and measures to be a great instrument to break through these elements of dysfunction. When we as a team collectively spend several hours each week for several weeks in the beginning of the year, drafting and iterating the V2MOM, then the team members understand each other better and builds trust. And when the V2MOM is drafted and published, there's a clear common purpose, ownership, commitment, and a way to effectively track the progress of the delivery. I want to add one more thing. So V2MOM is more at, let's say, business and portfolio level. At the product level, we encourage PMs to write a very strong, very detailed PRD, product requirements document, including why, what, all the functional and non-functional aspects. This is important. If you're interviewing for a PM role at Salesforce, do not be surprised if you're asked to talk about the best PRD you have ever written. Not just at a PM or a senior PM or a director or a senior director levels. You will be surprised. A couple of years ago, I was interviewing for a VP role internally at Salesforce, and that EVP who was GM and who was interviewing me, he said, show me the PRD, best PRD you have written in the last few years within Salesforce. Uh, so when a PM or a group of PMs write a PRD, scores of people across functions like engineers, architects, functional and performance testing teams, program managers, security SMEs, support teams, tech document writers, and many others, they tear it apart with their comments. Inside, so it's a collaborative document. So it is an interesting exercise with a collective goal of delivering a great product. So that PRD helps to answer your question, streamline the execution for product launches.
There's a lot of debate right now on PRDs and we have vibe coding tools, so we don't need PRDs anymore. And I see a lot of debate happening on LinkedIn on it, which I find quite interesting because just the vibe coding does not capture everything. And there's people on both sides of things.
I agree. See, PRD is a way to communicating to all your stakeholders, like what you're intending to build and why. And all the other elements that come with that, right? Yeah, you can go do vibe coding, create a prototype and show, but how do you convince all your stakeholders that like there is the value in that product for somebody who is willing to pay for it, who is willing to consume that product? Like all that has to be documented somewhere. Call it PRD or whatever you can call it, right? Like somewhere, some communication mechanism has to be there for all your stakeholders to understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Let's do one last segment, which is about getting into platform product management roles, because a lot of the audience here is trying to figure that out. So I'll just ask you a straightforward question. What's the best way to break into?
Yeah, sure. So I would say demonstrate the things we just discussed earlier, like such as about vision and platform thinking versus application thinking, and also the ability to dive into the non-functional aspects. In addition to that, you should be able to demonstrate that balance in being very technical on one side with being very customer centric, market focused, ability to work with the sales teams or non-technical teams like customer success teams, and also like curious and learning about the latest technological developments. You should be able to demonstrate that as a PM, you can be that first line or even second line of defense in dealing with the product technical questions from customers and stakeholders, and not expose your engineering to every question, but rather only when needed. And ask yourself as a PM if you can work with fellow group of PMs and their need to drive a larger collective initiative and not just some product with solo scrum team. If you're an application PM, then you have your own dedicated scrum team. You go work in a silo and go make it happen. But platform PMs means like there is a lot of connected tissues there. So you have to be working with several PMs, several engineering teams together.
Now, a natural question comes that, especially if you're transitioning into product and your first role is platform PMs, can engineers transition into such roles? And what are like the skills they should demonstrate as part of this transition?
Certainly, why not? In fact, most very good technology platform PMs I have worked with are from engineering background. I myself was coming from an engineering background. And if you are an engineer who wrote software in practice and shipped products as an engineering principal engineer or staff engineer or lead engineer, then even better that you know the intricacies and can empathize with the teams more when you become a PM. But of course, then coming from engineering background, you have to demonstrate your ability to be very customer centric, market focused, ability to translate the complex technical stuff or technologies to non-technical people like sales and to some extent professional services, customer success teams, for them to be able to sell your product better. And how you do pricing and create SKUs, and how you plan your roadmaps well ahead, and again how you work with fellow teams. If you are an engineer and being in a scrum team and more siloed, then but you have to come out of that mindset and showcase that you're not a siloed thinker, but rather a cross-product thinker or person who can execute across teams, right? Like, so those are the things that engineers have to demonstrate.
Yeah, love it. And it's something I advocate all the time because you're leveraging everything you've built up as an engineer, but you need all these things. You can't just be like, cool, I was a great engineer, so obviously I'll be a great PM. Does not always translate. Let's wrap it up with a couple of fun questions, or kind of fun questions. So if your AI agent had a name, what would it be?
I would say prod AI. Prod as in not product, but prod as in for platforms and systems in live production environments. Um, that like AI agent, which can really keep looking at the all the applications and artifacts that are running on my platform, and troubleshooting or helping those applications to stay stable, live, robust, and whatnot. So I would call it like prod AI.
And now, last but not least, I know that your wife is also a product leader. How is it when both partners are product leaders?
I have been very fortunate, I would say. She's much more well-read. And all the books you're seeing in the background, like, are collected by her mostly. So in that sense, she's much more well-read and market aware than I am, and I'm able to tap into her information and knowledge. Also, she's somewhat more closer to B2C product management, while I am purely in enterprise space. And so we are like that yin and yang, learning from each other on product principles, organizational leadership, latest technologies. A lot of good discussions keep happening at home on these topics, and we are just learning from each other continuously.
Awesome. So, Ram, first of all, this was a blast. I loved reconnecting and learning from experience. Thank you so much for making time for this podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Shobhit, for having me.
So to our listeners, I want to say a couple of things. If you're aiming to transition into product, lead platform teams, break into enterprise product roles, or even just frame your work in a more strategic light, I want you to listen to this one twice, especially the part where Ram describes different levels of PMs and how responsibilities change. Pay attention to that because I think that's really critical, and hearing it from somebody who's highly accomplished in such roles. If you want help positioning yourself as a product leader, make your next career move more intentional, connect with me on LinkedIn or check the link in the show notes. And oh, by the way, Ram, we'll also leave a link to your LinkedIn in the show notes so people can connect with you.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for listening. Subscribe, share with a PM friend, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Hey, be sure to check out our website at intentionalproductmanager.com to see how you can level up in your career.